So on the final day of the Digital Brand Summit here in Phuket, Thailand, I am joined by Sunita. Sunita is from CNN International, and your title is?
Vice President for Advertising Sales.
Vice President for Advertising Sales. So Sunita, what's on your mind? What have you thought of the conference so far? What are some of the key takeaways? And just generally, what keeps you up at night?
Well, it's been a terrific 2 days, 2.5 days really, of just meeting, connecting and having some really interesting conversations with brand marketeers, with technology providers, and really thought leaders in the business. It's fascinating to see that it doesn't matter which country you come from, the opportunities as well as some of the issues are pretty much the same. I guess the size and scale differs depending on the business you're in. But as a media company and as a marketing company, it's always a privilege to listen and to hear from some of the brands and how they're going about overcoming some of the challenges, but really just capturing the opportunities.
It was interesting. One of the last speakers before you and I came out here, whether he was asked about Snapchat and how relevant that is, and that's something that my 16-year-old daughter has just gotten me into within the last few weeks, and I find it fascinating because there's this sort of fear of missing out that's always been missing, if you like, from social media channels, and I do find that Snapchat is a lot more engaging. Now, tell us about CNN and how you guys have leveraged that as a new channel.
Yeah, and I referenced some statistics and size of audiences that we have. We do have one of the largest social followings of any news brand, and that's fantastic on a global scale. But what that allows us, and what that has prompted us, I guess, is as a media company and as a content provider, is to work with each and every one of these platforms. It's very much about the now, and Snapchat is one of them. We work with Snapchat Discover. We are a content provider, and what is really interesting, and I think this is, I'd love to be able to correct that perception, which is about, yes, it is about the younger audience, but they're rather affluent, and they've got very high disposable incomes. So it's not just the youth with no money in their pockets, and that's what brands need to understand and learn about. You do have the high net worth individual who is engaging, who might be between the ages of 25 and 34 or even slightly younger, but the ones who fall into that demographic are the ones who are very attractive for a number of brands, whether they are in the products business or the services industry. And that's something that we've recognized, and I think not just with Snapchat, but with a number of other messaging apps. We work with Line, we're doing quite a lot of work with some other messaging apps, both in the US as well as globally. And I think what it's providing us is the opportunity to firstly seed our content, which is in high demand, but also tailor it to suit that particular audience and the way they consume, both in terms of time as well as in the content they're interested in.
So what are some of the biggest challenges that you're facing right now in your business?
I look at it and I think the business looks at it very much as opportunities. I think the challenge is not just keeping pace with your consumer, but being ahead of the curve. And really it's about not just the what next, but how next. And that requires investment. It requires a lot of thought in terms of the content that we would be producing and delivering. But also it's being as much of a technology company as we are a content company. And that's a big commitment, which CNN has made. We recently announced some very big investment into our digital business. And that's really not just in the delivery, it's very much in the audiences, the insights, the content, and the journalism as well. From an international market, it's about having products which cut across geographies, but also where there is a market opportunity, being able to provide either a language version or a version that is unique to that particular market. And that, that certainly is both a challenge and an opportunity, but it's exciting. It is dynamic. It is sets the pace, so to speak. But really, we are in the business of both content creation as well as marketing that through a variety of media platforms that we play in. And I think the big game, if you like, or the big opportunity for us is making sure that we have something for audiences across a variety of demographics, and not just being what probably was a popular perception of being just for the more mature, slightly older demographic. And reinventing that with content that's relevant and working with platforms that are very much, as I said, in the now, which is what is driving consumer behavior, is a challenge, but it's also an opportunity.
So let's talk about the Digital Brand Summit. How has this been for you? Are you getting something out of it? Any kind of key takeaways that you're going to go back to your management and say, oh wow, we should have thought about this, we should be doing this? Anything that stands out as a good takeaway from this event?
For me, having certainly kind of been in this industry for a very long time, and hearing about, this is the year of mobile, this is the era of mobile, we should be changing, there's a need to kind of innovate. What was interesting for me and a key takeaway is that the brand marketeers who were both present at the summit as speakers as well as delegates very clearly have shifted the dial and have made that change in the way they interact with their consumers, and the way they plan their media spend, and the way they think about content and think about creative, which is encouraging, and that certainly allows us to kind of engage with these clients in a much more dynamic and a much more collaborative manner, rather than just being known as a media owner. Digital, as we all know, used to be a very small percentage of the total advertising spend, used to be generally referred to with a very late reaction and kind of bolted on into very traditional media spends. That's no longer the case. And when you look at audience data and you look at consumption of video online, whether that's through your smartphone or a variety of mobile devices, it very much is the game now. And so looking at how marketers are engaging with that consumer behavior and taking advantage of that and listening to a number of the case studies and how they're going about it was interesting. And it certainly is one of the key takeaways. I can see, 2 or 3 opportunities of us being able to demonstrate what we do better as a result of these conversations.
Fantastic. So hopefully we'll see you at the next one then.
Yes, absolutely.
Great stuff. Well, look, Sunita, we're going to let you get back in there, because I know we've only got a few more hours before we all have to jump on planes and fly off somewhere. So thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you coming over and giving us some of your insights. And enjoy the rest of the conference, and hope to see you next year.
Thank you.